everyone, and welcome inside Upon Further Review with D. Marsh and Michael, presented as always by WynnBET, a Victory Monday edition of the segment here on CBS in Denver. Alongside my partner, Brandon Marshall, I'm Michael Spencer. B. Marsh, I am still trying to wrap my head around what I saw yesterday. I was there. I was in Arlington, Texas, and I'm still not sure that was the Denver Broncos wearing those orange jerseys. I don't know if they did a jersey swap with the Cowboys before the game or what, but man, that was an impressive performance from the Broncos.
Yeah, I mean, look, they had the same colors. I mean, I'm not sure if they was the same guys out there. I don't know what it
looked like the same dudes.
I don't know, but I was shocked. I'm watching it. I picked the Cowboys to win, as I'm pretty sure 95% of America did. Yes. And the only 5% live in Colorado because there was no play. And they went down there and handled them. But it's the history. It's actually the history. The last few games that the Cowboys played the Broncos came out on top.
Yeah, it's wild, but I'm with you. I did not see that coming yesterday. We got a lot to get into, so let's start the show as we do every single show with What's on Marshall's Mind. What's on Marshall's Mind, brought to you by First Bank. Banking for good. Take it away.
I mean, look, I've been telling people all week since they traded Von Miller. I said on the show that they are tanking. They know the season's over with. Why would they trade their best player if they believe they have a true shot at the playoffs or even the Super Bowl? So they're going to get some picks for him. They're tanking. And then Justin Simmons came out and said, no, we're not tanking. You're going to see. And he showed us. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm not sure if it's the Odell effect with the Browns, because the Browns offense looked good.
Yeah.
My Bond's gone, so the Browns stepped it up. I don't know what it is, but I'm very shocked, but I'm pleased as well.
Yeah, and I think the other guy who's pleased is George Paton, because he came out on Tuesday too, after the trade became official, and said, we're not throwing in the towel. We're 4-4. We're right in the thick of it. And he's saying that, and I'm like, is he watching the same football team? What team is he watching right now? And then they came out and they backed it up, and I thought that was really, really impressive. And Brandon, I do wonder if there's something to that effect of, okay, we traded away our best player. We know there was maybe some drama with the Halloween party and all that. Now that's all out of the way. Now we can go out and just play ball. And it felt like there was almost a sense of relief. And it felt like there was a sense of, and we heard this from Jonathan Cooper, responsibility. Okay, they traded away Von Miller, and then our GM came out and said, we're not throwing in the towel. You guys are 4-4. You got a legit shot at this thing when you look at the standings in the AFC and in the AFC West. And so let's go out and let's back him up, because we've got some pride too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's tough to trade away a Von Miller type player and still I guess catch the ears of the supporters and have us believe you when you say we're not tanking because, and we still got a shot, because now we're looking at this, we see the team, and now we think George has delusions of grandeur. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. But now they go out on Sunday, last night or yesterday. I mean, I haven't seen that type of a performance from the Denver Broncos in a while. And I'm not talking about when they beat the Jets or the Jags, but this was a really good team and dominating. They dominated this team.
Yeah.
All in all fashions, like they dominated them.
And from start to finish too.
Yeah.
And I thought those 2 4th down conversions that the Cowboys went for, those 2 4th down attempts where the Broncos defense stopped them early in the game, I thought that set the tone. And to me, watching in the press box, and I think to everybody watching at home, kind of opened our eyes a little bit, like, oh, this might be something, huh? And then you hear from the Broncos offense after the game, and Lloyd Cushenberry and Tim Patrick and Teddy Bridgewater, all of them to a man said, hey, that's disrespectful, and Tim Patrick was like, you're trying us and you're telling us that we don't trust your offense to move the ball. And Brandon, I have a hard time blaming the Cowboys for that based on what we've seen from the Broncos offense this year.
I'm not mad at them at all.
Right.
I'm sure Mike McCarthy was in those meetings and said, look, we're going to put them away early. We're going to, if we get into a 4th down situation, we're going to go for it, because their offense will not be able to score. Nobody believes in the Broncos offense, to be honest with you, except maybe the Broncos. So I'm not mad at Mike. I say that's disrespectful, but just go back and look at the tape. The tape has shown that you guys aren't efficient as you want to be, and you don't move the ball. You can't score points. So why wouldn't they do it?
Yeah, coming into yesterday, they deserved to be disrespected. You know
absolutely.
what I mean?
Now, moving forward, it may be something to talk about, but that's just one game. I got to see it again.
Well, yeah, no, I absolutely think that. But I thought the defense kind of laid the groundwork, right? And that's what we talked about. This team, the defense has to make the plays, and then the offense has to be able to capitalize on that. And they finally did that. And I think what was so crazy was not only in addition to the fourth down conversions, but they did a really good job stopping the Cowboys offense for the entire game. I mean, they had a shutout going through 54, 56 minutes, whatever it was. What did you see yesterday when you were watching your guys on that side of the ball and why they were so effective in slowing down an offense that came in top 5 across the board? I mean, top 5 in total yards. They were number 1 in total yards. They were top 5 in passing yards, top 5 in rushing yards, and 3 in scoring yesterday, entering yesterday.
Well, look, I'm gonna go ahead and give props to Vic Fangio because they say he's the mastermind. I feel like that was a master game plan yesterday. I was watching the film when Caden Stearns got his interception, and I saw how he did it. And he was on the number 3 receiver because it was trips. He was on the number 3 receiver. It looked like he had the guy. He was outside leverage. It looked like he had him up. If he went vertical, if he went outside, the guy ends up going across the field. He stands there and he breaks on the quarterback's eyes and it's an interception. I just felt like the scheme was great. The pass rush was really good. Jonathan Cooper ended up with 2 sacks. You know, they were stopping the run. They were just hitting on all cylinders. You know, Kyle Fuller came back and he played decent, man. I mean, I feel like all over the board, everybody was up for this game. The game plan matched the players' intensity, and they came out and just dominated.
And props to Kyle Fuller for that, right? Because that's not easy when you get benched and you're not playing at all. And then he came in, he played 3 different positions yesterday because they were so banged up. They ended up losing Pat Surtain II late in that game. I thought that was a really impressive performance. And I love what you said about Vic Fangio because we've been waiting for that, right? Like we've been waiting for all of this to click. And it felt like yesterday it really clicked. And I'm with you. I thought the secondary played really well. I thought they played well on all 3 levels, to be honest, because you shut down Zeke, you shut down Dak Prescott. I mean, he had less than 100 yards passing entering the third quarter. He got some junk yards late in the game. Oh, I'm still like mind boggled at how effective the Broncos were yesterday in every single facet.
Yeah. I mean, you talking about Dak Prescott, who's one of the front runners for MVP, and been throwing for 400 yards, 300 yards, 400 here, 450, 480. And the Broncos defense came in and said, nah, it's not happening over here because we are special. Nobody really talks about us, even though they're a top 5 defense. Nobody really talks about we are special. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, Jonathan Cooper stepped up. You know, I mean, I'm glad now we have a plethora of edge rushers like we do corners. You know, we got Jonathan Cooper, we got Malik Reed, you got Bradley Chubb when he comes back. Weatherly. So I like what's going on right now. If they just can keep it up, man, keep that hunger, you know, keep feeling disrespected because nobody respects you and they still don't respect you.
Yeah.
So just keep that mindset. I think they'll be all right.
Let's talk about the other side of the ball and what that Broncos offense was able to do yesterday, because that's half the battle, right? I mean, your defense can get 4th down stops and your defense can stop the Cowboys offense from getting anything going offensively. But if the offense doesn't capitalize, well, then it's not worth anything. And Brandon, you gave a shout out to Vic Fangio. Can we give a shout out to Pat Shurmur? We don't do that very often on this show. There aren't a lot of reasons to do it very often on this show. But Pat Shurmur, I thought yesterday called a really good game. And I've seen the meme already this morning on Twitter, and I saw it a couple weeks ago too, that clip from The Blind Side with Sandra Bullock, and she calls the coach, run the dang ball, Bert. And it's like, that's what Broncos country's been saying for weeks now, and they finally ran the ball yesterday. And man, I was really impressed with what they did on the offensive side of the football.
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, did you see Teddy let it fly to Tim Patrick?
Yes.
Let it fly. I was like, yo, is this Teddy?
I thought Teddy couldn't throw the deep ball.
Is this check down Teddy? No, he let it fly. That was a great pass. First of all, the 2 running backs, look, they have a great tandem.
Yes.
You know, they have a great tandem. We have 2 really good backs, you know, and you know, Williams runs angry. You know, they talk about angry runs. The guy he just keeps his feet turning. He's almost like he's almost Marshawn Lynch-esque because Marshawn never stopped his feet upon contact. So the young boy is actually out there, and just wait till he gets bigger and stronger and just more savvy, more experienced. And Melvin Gordon, as explosive as he ever been, he's still explosive. He can move. He can catch the ball in the backfield. They have weapons. They just got to utilize them. And Pat Shermer finally called it a game.
And I thought it was a really like symbiotic relationship because not only did they run the ball for a season high 190 yards and score a season high 30 points, they did it with 3 backup offensive line in the second half. When you're talking about Cam Fleming and Quinn Miners and Calvin Anderson, who got the start for Garrett Bowles, I thought that was really impressive. And I thought it was smart of them to try and establish the run early, which they did. Because you talk to offensive linemen, and they'll tell you the toughest thing for a young offensive lineman to do is pass block because they're going backwards, they're giving up ground automatically, they're no longer the aggressor. Right. And so Pat Shermer's looking at that like, I got 3 young offensive linemen in there. Let's run the football. I love the designs too. Anytime I see Dalton Reisner pull and get out in front, I absolutely love that type of play. They did that yesterday with Dalton. They did it yesterday with Quinn Miners. And I thought they fed off of one another, not just the linemen, but the running backs, because I thought the running backs ran hard. And then I thought the linemen wanted to block even harder, right? And like on that big run that Javonte Williams rips off in the second half, who's right there with him? Quinn Miners. Like the belly is right there leading the way. I thought it was awesome. I loved what I saw, not only from Pat Shermer, but obviously from the guys on the field too. And Brandon, I hope it's a recipe for success because what they proved yesterday was that they can run the football even when they're not winning the game. And they were never trailing yesterday, but they stuck with the run. And I think that opened things up for the pass game. I was talking to ESPN senior writer Jeff Legwold yesterday, and he told me this was the first time all season that the Broncos had 2 40-yard pass plays in a game.
Wow.
Why? Because they ran the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, first of all, as far as Quentin, the NFL should let him have his belly out.
Thank you. Yes.
Give him he should be excused from the regular rules. Let him have his belly out. But I mean, just like you said, absolutely, the run game opens up the pass game. It's complementary football. You have to run, and then now the defensive coordinator said, "Oh, we can't stop the run. Let's put another guy in the box, maybe a 7th guy in the box, or maybe even 8th guy in the box." And then now that opens up everything because now what they say is you run to win, right? My college coach said, run to win. And you run to establish control of the game. And the Broncos controlled the game the whole game yesterday. So the defensive coordinator, Dan Quinn, feels like I have to stop the bleeding. Let me add an extra guy in the box or blitz or something. And then that's when Pat Shermer just knew. And he called him right, he called the right plays and Teddy Bridgewater made the right throws. So this is very pleasing to watch. I ain't gonna lie. It was pretty.
And I hope that that's a recipe moving forward, right? Because if I'm the Eagles now, I come into this game next week, and we'll talk about more on that in just a little bit. But I'm thinking, okay, I got to stop the Broncos' run game. That's going to open up things in the pass game. The Broncos need to continue to run the football, especially because it looks like they're going to be without Graham Glasgow for quite some time. Stick around when we come back. I'll tell you who I think was the unsung hero of yesterday's victory and why the unsung hero wasn't even wearing a helmet yesterday. That plus the Broncos did something that they don't normally do, and it has me thinking that they might have turned the corner and might be becoming a good football team right in front of our eyes. We will talk about all that and more next, right here on Upon Further Review with B. Marsh and Michael, presented by WinBet. Welcome back inside Upon Further Review with B. Marsh and Michael. Alongside Brandon Marshall, I'm Michael Spencer. We are, as always, presented by WinBet. Glad to have you here with us on CBS in Denver as we recap the Broncos' 30-16 win over the Dallas Cowboys yesterday in Arlington. And Brandon, I was walking out with our CBS 4 photographer, Dave Willie, and he turned to me and he said, "Is this like the George Payton game?" And I said, you know what? Actually, now that I think about it, we do need to give a shout out to George Payton because I thought not only does he make the trade for Vaughn earlier in the week and then come out and say what we talked about in that first segment, and kind of, I think, light a fire under these guys, but there were so many rookies that contributed yesterday that I thought that was really impressive. And when I look at John Elway, for all he did building up that 2015 championship team, he had so many swings and misses in the draft. And I can't remember the last Broncos rookie class that has come in and has contributed like this for a victory, right? When you're talking about guys like Jonathan Cooper and Javonte Williams and Quinn Miners, and they're all George Payton guys. I want to throw Stephen Weatherly in that group too, because while he didn't jump the stat sheet yesterday, I thought he had a really, really good game and was really disruptive at points. And so I think George Payton deserves a big amount of kudos for yesterday's win, even though he didn't put on a helmet or wasn't wearing a headset yesterday.
No, I agree with you. And going back to what you said about John Elway and the Super Bowl teams, you know, I mean, he had some good drafts when he drafted Malik Jackson in the 6th round, or fifth round, Dennis Trevathan in the 6th round.
That was early in his tenureship. He had some good drafts.
2012, you know, I mean, drafted Omar Bolden, Ronnie Hillman. So he did well initially, and then I think what put us over the hump when I got there, or actually before I got there, was Peyton Manning, because players want to come play for Peyton because they have the opportunity to win a championship, right? So then that's when you get the Emmanuel Sanders and you get the T.J. Wards and the DeMarcus Wares, because the people want to play with Peyton. People want a shot at winning a championship. Ever since then, it was tough to get free agents because you know, we had, I mean, no offense to Trevor, but we had Trevor Siemian and Paxton Lynch. And, you know, I mean, it's tough to get guys to come. So for George Payton in his first year to have a solid draft with Surtain and Quinn and, you know, Jonathan Cooper, a bunch of guys. I mean, it seems like he knows what he's doing. It seems like it was the right time for Elway to step away or to, you know, give somebody else, you know, full control, which I don't think he has full control. Man, I think, you know, I think he's done a great job so far, you know, and you know, I can see the Broncos trending upwards.
Yeah, there's a lot to like if you're Broncos country about what your GM is doing in his first year. The other thing that I thought stood out to me yesterday, Brandon, and part of the reason why I think I'm so excited about this team, and I know it's just one game, and in any given Sunday, we saw that a lot yesterday across the NFL, and we'll get into that in just a minute. But there were moments in yesterday's game where I felt like, oh, here we go. Right? Like this is going to be the thing that gets the Cowboys back into the game, or on the opening kickoff return. This is how it's going to be. The Cowboys are just going to dominate the day. Broncos defense comes out, gets a stop on 4th down. Second half, Broncos come out. Teddy gets sacked for a loss of 9 on 3rd down. They go to punt. Punt gets blocked. One of the weirdest plays I've ever seen live. Had you ever seen something like that?
No, it was kind of crazy.
That was nuts.
It was weird.
and so I'm thinking as it's happening, oh, of course, here we go, right? And then the Broncos get the ball and they don't just give it right back. They go down and get a field goal. Yeah. That to me they were like momentum shifters, where in the past they have gone against the Broncos. Yesterday, it seemed like the Broncos had opportunities to shoot themselves in the foot and didn't, and instead took advantage of some of those opportunities, which I thought was really rare.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's adversity in every football game, right? They call them ebbs and flows, and, you know, how are you going to handle them, right? And so the Broncos, they handled them great yesterday, you know, because at the very moment when we thought they were going to revert back to, you know, the old Broncos, and we're going to see, I don't want to call them old Broncos yet, but we're going to see more of the same that we've been seeing. You know, they actually, you know, turned the corner, and, you know, yesterday, I feel like they was a different team, and it's not just against. It has something. We have to say something about who they're playing against.
Yes, right. It wasn't the Jets. It wasn't the Jags. It wasn't the Giants.
Come on, it wasn't that. It wasn't those teams, and so for those guys to step up and dominate a good team like the Cowboys, it kind of leaves you wondering, like, okay, so, you know, maybe we do have a playoff team in our hands. You know. If they can take care of the ball and control the clock with the run, and the defense can continue to play how they play. But, you know.
I think next week is a big maturity test for this team, because you've got an Eagles team coming in that's not very good. Right. And you just want a big game on the road in Dallas the week after you traded away the face of the franchise. How do you respond?
Right.
At home.
At home. I can see Vic. Look, so first of all, I think Jalen Hurts is a really good player. He's leading the Eagles in rushing.
Don't give it away. We got our sneak peek coming up. Don't give it away.
Right, you're right. Okay, I just want to know. I just want to say, you're right. Let me not give it away. But this is going to be an interesting game.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Jalen Hurts, because I do think that there's a lot of interesting dynamics at play there. But I think this is a massive, massive moment for this Broncos football team. Brandon, they could be sitting at 6-4 at the bye.
Right.
And if you would have told Broncos country in August, your team's going to be 6-4 at the bye, take it. Take it. All
Nobody
the
would have
time.
believed it, though.
No, right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. The other thing that I thought stood out yesterday, you know, in terms of compounding issues, Brandon McManus and the missed field goal late in the third quarter. I was in the press box and I literally said out loud, I said, "Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Here's where the Cowboys come back." Right. You know what I mean? And then credit to the defense, they get a 3-and-out, and the Broncos go score a touchdown on the ensuing drive. That's a massive, massive swing right there. So kudos to the Broncos for that, and I hope they can continue doing that.
I think Broncos country has PTSD because
everything
happens, we're like, oh, here we go again. You know, we got PTSD. And hopefully they can turn us around, because if you look at it, right, I'm sure Chiefs fans watch the Chiefs and something happens, and then every time the offense gets on the field, like, oh, we're going to score. Or they always believe they win. Broncos country doesn't always believe that about our team. So hopefully, you know, they can go ahead and knock the PTSD out of the fans and continue to make strides and show that they're.
Well, it's been 5 years, right? And like you react to what you see, and it's been 5 years of this. I love that. That's a really good way to look at it. Hey, let's get into our report card. Today's report card brought to you by Flock Homes. Smarter rental property ownership starts here. Visit flockhomes.com to learn more. Professor Marshall, who you got today?
Man, I got Jonathan Cooper, 7th round pick this year, and people don't really expect much of 7th round pick, free agent guys, but he stepped in and got 2 sacks. He stepped in on the big stage and did his thing, man. I think he improved from the Browns game. I think he's taken steps to become a better player, and I hear good things about him, you know, from the guys. So look, Jonathan Cooper, I give him a B. You know, he stepped up and he played well in the absence of Von Miller.
You know what I love about Jonathan Cooper was he said yesterday after the game, I took responsibility, right? Like I took ownership for that and knowing that they had to step up. And we heard that from him earlier in the week too. He was like, yeah, I want to go out and I want to prove this front office right. And that they put their trust in me, and I want to go out and prove that trust is well put. And he did that yesterday. And I don't think there's a guy who has more fun playing football or just like being in the locker room when you look at what he accomplished and what he went through in the offseason with the heart surgeries and part of the reason why he fell to the 7th round. And now I think all of this is just gravy for him. I love Jonathan Cooper. I think Broncos country is going to learn to love him as well. I love what he's doing on the field and off the field as well. I'm going to go ahead and hand out a grade. And this is like, I'm not trying to like make up for the grades that I gave out earlier, but I actually think that they earned it. I'm gonna give the coaching staff a B for yesterday. I'm gonna include the special teams in there, which is why it's not an A. But I'm gonna give the Broncos coaching staff a B. I thought that they had their team ready to go, which after kind of a crazy week with everything that happened was really kind of tough. Not only do you trade Von Miller, all of a sudden you get a positive test from Drew Lock the morning of the game, and you're worried about whether or not Teddy Bridgewater is gonna be your starting quarterback. Like hours before the game starts, you're thinking it might be Kendall Hinton 2.0. And so I thought the coaching staff did a really good job having their guys ready to go. And what wasn't necessarily a hostile environment, but what is a tough place to play against a really good, I thought they called a really good game from start to finish. So I'll give the coaching staff a B for their performance yesterday.
I agree, man. I agree.
All right. I'm glad. Stamp of approval from Professor Marshall. I like that. Hey, stick around when we come back. A wacky day in the NFL. What happened yesterday for the first time since 2006? I will tell you that as we go around the league. Plus, we'll take a sneak peek and break down what the Broncos will be facing when the Philadelphia Eagles come to town on Sunday. All that and more coming up next right here on Upon Further Review with B. Marshall Michael, presented by WinBet. Welcome back inside Upon Further Review with B. Marshall Michael, presented by WinBet. It is time to go around the league. Around the League brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on their most exciting lineup ever. Shop NissanUSA.com. B. Marshall, crazy day yesterday in the NFL. There were 12 games, 9 underdogs covered, 7 won outright, and it was the first day since November 12th of 2006 that 5 underdogs of at least 5 points or more won the game outright. Where were you in 2006?
I was in high school.
Yeah.
I was in high school. I was about 16 years old, and I can't.
Didn't even know what sports betting was.
No, not at all.
Didn't know who underdogs were.
But this is a long time. I mean, whoever bet on the underdogs yesterday made some good money.
Made a killing. I saw that you had gone like Falcons, Jags, Broncos, and Giants and put $100. You would have won like 56 grand or something ridiculous like that. I don't know if anybody was gutsy enough to take that. But yeah, what a day for the dogs. And one that stood out to me was the Jacksonville Jaguars beating the Buffalo Bills.
Who would have thought the high-powered offense of the Bills would only score 6 points against the Jacksonville? 6 points. Josh Allen, I'm pretty sure they put up 30. They're putting up 30 on people. They put up 6. Now, Josh Allen got the best of Josh Allen.
The other Josh Allen, right.
He picked him off. He got a sack. He forced a fumble or recovered a fumble. Look, I don't know what happened yesterday down in Jacksonville or in Duval County, as they say, but it was a massacre. It was terrible. It was a disaster. I can't believe the Bills went down there and got ran, or not ran, but got beat by the Jaguars.
Is this just a matter of any given Sunday? I mean, they were 14.5-point favorites. They are clearly the better team. If they played a 7-game series, the Bills would sweep them. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of my thought. But it's just wild that literally any given Sunday, a team can have a bad day and all of a sudden this happens.
Yeah, and that's why the saying is exactly that, any given Sunday, because at any point, and that's why football is the greatest game, because every game matters, right? And even in the playoffs, like you said, basketball 7-game series, okay, we know we lose the first one, okay, it's cool. We got more to go, right? They still got to win 3 more on us. Football, it's today. It's who is better today. And yesterday, the Jaguars were better.
Yeah, pretty crazy when you think about that. Where else were we going to go there? I thought the Titans were really good yesterday. I continue to be impressed by their defense, and I keep waiting for this Titans team to have a letdown. And they just, the Jets, but like, it makes no sense that they've beaten the Bills, they've beaten the Chiefs, then they go to LA, no Derrick Henry. Everybody's like, oh, they got no chance. Their defense comes up huge, and they do a really good job of slowing down Matt Stafford in that offense. And I'm really, really impressed with what the Titans are doing right now.
And that's why I picked the Rams. And first of all, the Rams are loaded, right? They're a great team, but the Titans have no Derrick Henry, who is the very engine of their team. So in my head, I'm like, there's no way they'll go into LA and beat the Rams without Derrick Henry. But the defense stepped up, man. Matt Stafford threw 2 picks. I mean, Matt Stafford was in the negatives on my fantasy. I'm like, yo, can you throw for some yards? He could have touched it.
That one where he's trying to avoid the safety and ends up tossing it right to the dude. Like, how many times do we see that? And Matt Stafford's a veteran. You know what I mean? Like, I would expect that out of maybe a young guy trying to make something happen.
Yeah, I can't believe that. And I saw that. I was like, yo, this game is going downhill fast for the Rams. But I can't believe, look, the Titans they're just a complete team.
Yeah.
We got to just call it what it is. They're a complete team.
How about your Raiders yesterday?
Man, well, first of all, I don't want to call them my Raiders.
You notice I only call them your Raiders when they do something bad.
But see, so I went on the show yesterday. I did the show, and I was the only one in the booth or in the studio that picked the Giants.
I'm with you. I picked the Giants. I picked the Giants early last week, and I picked them again yesterday.
And I picked the Giants because the Raiders are historically, or even as of recent, bad in New York. They're 1-5. Now they're 1-6 out of their last 6-7 games in New York. So I saw that and I was like, okay, no Henry Ruggs. Oh yeah, they're gonna lose. And also the Raiders are 3-15 after bye weeks. They're like historically bad.
They're terrible.
So I'm like, yeah, the Giants. I should have put some money on it.
I did. I should have put more money on it. I put a little bit of money on the Giants. I should have put more money on it. I was kicking myself after yesterday. I do think there's something weird. Obviously, the Henry Ruggs deal, like that's going to have an effect, right? I mean, these guys are at the end of the day, they're human. But there's something weird about the Raiders after the buys. And you mentioned that stat. In their last 4, up until yesterday, their last 4 games after the bye, they had lost all 4 by an average of like 20 points.
What? So,
like they were just getting smoked.
So what's because the Chiefs after buys, Andy Reid really doesn't lose.
Yes.
After
Yes.
buys, but the Chiefs is complete opposite.
Yeah.
The Raiders are complete opposite. They come back from the bye week, and I don't know if they still drunk or if they still got vacation on their mind or whatever, but it's not good at all.
No, it's definitely not good. How about the Browns yesterday too? I mean, they dominated the Bengals. I was a believer in the Bengals. I thought that we were going to see a Bengals team that was more like the team that beat the Ravens than the team that we saw yesterday, for sure.
Yeah, no, they I don't know what happened with the Browns. I guess they, people talking about free Odell. They freed him. And
maybe the Browns are free. Maybe it was free the Browns.
That's what it is. It's free the Browns. Because without Odell last year, they made a good run, right? So at the end of the season, in the playoffs, they beat the Steelers and they almost beat the Chiefs. But with Odell, it's like they're handcuffed. It's almost like a dark cloud over the organization, over the team. Yes. And when he's gone, they're free. Like you said, it's free the Browns. And they was able to put 41 points up. They hadn't put that much up all year. I never saw Baker. You know what? Baker's not that great of a quarterback in my opinion, but he looked good yesterday. He looks good without Odell.
And that Browns defense did really well too. Yeah. Hey, let's get into our sneak peek. Marshall sneak peek brought to you by UC Health with personalized care and locations across Colorado. UC Health is here for you no matter where your story takes you. UC Health, live extraordinary. All right, V-Marsh, you kind of gave it away a little bit earlier. Yeah. I think Jalen Hurts versus Vic Fangio is going to be a fascinating matchup to watch this week. I do think it is a massive mental test for the Broncos. They're favored by 2.5 right now at WinBet. I think that number goes up throughout the week. I could see them closing at like a 3, maybe even 3.5 point favorite. I think that this is a very, very winnable game. But Jalen Hurts on the ground scares me a little bit, but he doesn't scare me through the air. And I want to see how Vic Fangio crafts his defense to force Jalen Hurts into mistakes through the air, which he's been known to make.
Yeah, you said it's a mental test for the Broncos, but I think it's even more of a mental test for Jalen Hurts because, the mastermind, Vic Fangio, is going to put together all kind of coverages. And, it's kind of similar to Bill Belichick. When he put the coverages together and confused the quarterbacks, I mean, I think Jalen's going to throw at least a pick. He's going to definitely throw a pick, maybe 2 next week. But, he's their most dynamic player on offense. They have Devonta Smith, at receiver. So they have some good weapons. They don't have a real good, run game. And they really can't even stop the run like that. So this is definitely a winnable game for the Broncos. They have to lock in, though. Just because you're coming off a big win, lock in, right, and continue to build day by day.
Their pass defense is 5th, bottom 5 in the league, right? So Brandon, when you're going up against a guy like Jalen Hurts, and they saw this kind of in Lamar Jackson, I think obviously Lamar's a better passer than Jalen is. But what's the key to slowing down a guy who at quarterback can run the football? Hurts is averaging 55 yards per game. He had 10 carries for 62 yards in their loss to the Chargers yesterday. What's the key to trying to slow him down or at least him in? Do you spy? What do you think you do defensively?
I think you have a couple options. You can definitely spy. That's definitely one of the options. But another option is just technique-wise and talking to your D-line about pass rush lanes. Keep it contained, right? Funneling him in, making him step up instead of moving around the pocket. Or make him move around instead of having him step up. There's different ways to do it, but I think ultimately you got to have a spy on 3rd down plays. You don't typically have a spy every, not 1st or 2nd down, but 3rd down, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, spy because he can easily run for that 8 yards and extend the drive.
All right, so you got your prop bet in. Jalen Hurts to throw an interception. What do you do? I'm gonna put you on the spot right here. I already took Broncos minus 2.5. Full transparency. You like that or no?
I like it. After what I seen yesterday, I like it.
Yeah.
It's tough to bet on the Broncos though, but I like it.
It's really tough to bet on the Broncos. I think this is such a good opportunity for them to come out and say, hey, that was a fluke. How much of that happens in practice week? From a player perspective, because let's be honest, they're feeling themselves a little bit, right? I mean, we saw the tweets on social media last night, Shelby Harris calling out the media members, and I love Shelby. I love when he does that. But they're feeling themselves coming into this week. Is it really easy to just kind of reset after a win like that? Because it wasn't just a normal win.
It depends on how you build. It depends on the type of players you have, the leaders you have, who's talking to the people, our practice because they had a lot to prove before this game. They had a chip in their shoulder, had a lot to prove. They won it, and it's easy to relax. So they got to get the guys that, like the Shelby Harrises, the Justin Simmons, the Teddy Bridgewaters, man, those guys got to make sure everybody is still on point, not relaxing, and treat last week or this week just like they treated last week. And I think they'll be fine if they do that.
Yeah, that was a really good point. That's what I was going to say. They did a really good job of that last week leading into that Cowboy game. Now they got to do the same exact thing this week as they get set for the Eagles. Lots to look forward to. And of course, we will have it all covered for you next week on Upon Further Review with B. Marsh and Michael. That is going to do it for us for this week's edition of Upon Further Review. For my partner, Brandon Marshall, and all of us here at CBS4, I'm Michael Spencer. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We will talk to you next week right here on Upon Further Review with B. Marsh and Michael, presented by WinBet.